when people seem to come out of nowhere and achieve something big, whether it's a success with their business, in a sport, in martial arts, in working out, losing weight, whatever it is, in school, it's it's simply because, and there's a lot to this, and if you could get this, I don't want to say master, if you can just develop this habit, this will be a game changer. There's just no question about it. This will be a game changer. Um, when people seem to come out of nowhere and achieve something big, it's because typically they're putting in hours overnight too. And and by the way, before, if you're thinking, or someone's criticizing, say, well, I can't work all night. You got to get sleep. This, yes, absolutely, and it doesn't mean you're working 24/7, right? But here's the thing: you got to work during the day, right? Whether it's your job, whether it's your business, whether it's whatever it is, you're going to school. There's stuff we have to do during the day. Some of us have kids. Some of us have families. People have a lot of obligations. You have obligations there no matter what. So to get that extra step, to get that extra time, you, if you can't get it during the day, you got to get it somewhere. And there's sacrifices you have to make. There's just no question about it. So for example, um, you know, even right now, I'm still, I still work late nights, many nights. You know, I'm running my business during the day, and then it's at night where I get my extra stuff done. It's at night where I might get reading. You know, I might read extra. I might study something. I might work on a mailing to my customers. I might work on different promotions I can do. I might be doing a lot of research on certain products I'm carrying or trying to carry, or I'm 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 reading through um, queries that potential suppliers might send to me, offering me their stuff, and I'm doing the research because I can't do that stuff during the day. And here's the thing: you can't do your stuff. You can't do all that extra stuff during the day. And if you want to have that breakthrough, people will talk about. I see a lot that people say, disappear for 6 months, disappear for 12 months, disappear, whatever it is. And there's some truth to that. I can tell you this. For myself, a big step up for me was back in 2020 during the quarantine, and it allowed me to kind of step back and get away from everything and get away from all the distractions. And then when I came out of the quarantine, it was like I was a different person. And you could take that, and you can apply that right now, and it doesn't matter. Now that was an imposed quarantine. We had to do that, right? But this is going forward, you can do it on your own terms. So for example, you might lay low from your friends, from your family, whatever, um, and to whatever degree you want to do it, because you have to put in that work. There's no other way. People always want a shortcut. And I can tell you, here's the secret to success: there are no shortcuts. There's just no shortcuts. You got to put in the work. A long time ago when I was starting, I don't know how it occurred to me, if I read it somewhere, or I put two and two together, or it just dawned on me for whatever reason. But I realized that I wasn't gonna achieve anything just strolling in the office at 9 o'clock and leaving at 5 o'clock. And when it occurred to me, I accepted the fact that I might have to put in 12, 13, 14 hours a day to just do a little bit better. And I was okay with that, because I thought to myself, if I can make X amount of dollars and get to where I want to go, it doesn't matter if I work. Doesn't matter if I work 4 hours a day or 14 hours a day. Really, it didn't. To me, it didn't matter, because I said, if I can achieve what I want to achieve, if I'm working all day, maybe a little through the night, that's okay. I didn't mind that, and that's something you'll have to do. And here's the difference: you don't have to love every second of it. Like, so don't, this thing too. Here's another myth, and I'll tell you something really, really interesting. But people always say, oh, you should love what you do. You gotta love every minute. And honestly, when someone says that, when I hear someone say that, my thoughts are two things. And I'm not, honestly, like, I'm really not a judgmental person. Like, I don't I'm just not. I'm not like that. But I am judgmental in the case that, if someone's trying to tell me something, or someone's trying to preach something, or teach something, or tell, something to my kids or something, then I am judgmental, because I don't want to get the wrong information. I definitely don't want my kids getting the wrong information, because I'll tell you what, the wrong information can set you back years. Because I've been on the wrong side of that, where things have set me back years just getting the wrong information. So when I hear someone say, "Oh, you got to love what you do, and you got to love every minute, and you got to be passionate about it, and you should love work, and you should look forward to going to Monday mornings," and I know they're either they're lying to you, or more likely they have no idea what they're talking about. They've never really achieved anything, because that's complete bullshit. I can tell you right now, that is complete bullshit. Okay, there's a lot of mornings that especially when you're dealing with setbacks, you're dealing with something you're trying to achieve. There's a lot of mornings you don't want it. You're not excited to go into work. You're not excited to roll into to business, because it's going to be crazy. And for example, if you're into sports, and if you're my age, actually, even if you're young, you know who this person is, but especially if you're my age, if you're in your 40s or older, the greatest boxer in our lifetime, probably in a couple generations, just without question, the greatest boxer was Mike Tyson. There's really no argument to make. If you're into boxing, you're into fighting sports, there's no argument to make. There's no one that can argue anyone was better than Mike Tyson. I mean, if you're into boxing, you think like Lennox Lewis. I love Lennox Lewis, one of my favorite boxers. He was not better than Mike Tyson. People say, well, Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. Well, yeah, he did beat Mike Tyson. I love Buster Douglas too. But that was the perfect storm, and the truth is, Buster Douglas was not a better fighter than Mike Tyson. Maybe on that night he was, for sure. And then obviously people can argue that Floyd Mayweather, is one of the, yes, he's one of the best boxers of our time, but and of course they're different weight classes, blah blah blah. But the greatest boxer, not even the greatest heavyweight, the greatest boxer in our generation in this time period is Mike Tyson, without question. And people thought that he was a natural talent, which yes, he had a lot of natural abilities. And people thought, he probably just loved every second of it. And the reality is when you study Mike Tyson, he number one, he trained a lot. He trained almost like he trained way more than you would ever expect that he trained. And the second thing is that when he was training for a fight, and he went into when he upped his workouts, he didn't love it. He didn't love it. A lot of cases that he hated those training sessions, but it's what it takes. That's what it takes. That's what it takes to succeed. If you want to be good at anything, that's what it takes. When I was younger, and I just kind of stumbled upon, when I kind of started figuring out just when I kind of started figuring out that just putting in a lot of time was going to be a key for me. There were times when I was in my early 20s, maybe late teens, I don't remember, but I would work late into the night sometimes, just doing something. And it was like, in hindsight, and even at the time, I knew it was probably not I was working on like promotions for my business, and I was doing stuff, like different marketing things for my business, and I was doing it. Sometimes I did it out of complete necessity, because that was the only time I had. But sometimes I did it because I'm like, okay, I got to do this, because I got to get used to working into the night. I can't get on this thing where I'm just okay I didn't want to get on this like the 9 to 5 time frame. I wanted to expand my mind, expand my business, expand my my endurance. I think just to be able to work all the time, because for me that was my objective. My objective was that was going to become first, because I figure if and there's people who say, hey, you got to have your relaxed time, you got to do this, and believe me, I do, but I figured if I can make that work, if I can make my business life, my career life, if I can become successful in that, then everything else will come together. I figure then when I have a family, which now I do, but this is back then. I thought when I have a family, it's going to be a lot easier if I have some money, if I'm ambitious, then I can teach my kids how to succeed, because I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have anyone teaching me how to succeed, so I had to figure it out. And here's the thing too, and this is whether you're young and getting started, or if you're older and you're making your comeback. The thing is that and I tell myself this all the time, is you got to get it out of your mind that A, everyone else has it figured out, and B, that there's like a time limit for you. Now, of course, we all have our time. It's like, when it's over, right? But if you're here and you can still get up, and you can get up for the day and tackle the day. You got another shot today. You got another shot today. And even if you've had success, or if you haven't, but if you've had success, like, for me, I still have to get up, and I still go at it, because there's things I want to achieve. There's things I want to get. There's things I want to there's places I want to go. There's things I want to get. There's more goals I want to accomplish. So it doesn't end. It's not like you make a little bit of money, then you can sit back, and you don't want it. You don't want to sit back. You don't want to, because when you sit back and you stop working, then you get old, and then your mind doesn't work as good, and you're not as sharp, and you want to be going. You don't want to retire. I got people around me. I'm 45, and I've got people around me all of a sudden that are retiring. People that are just a little bit older than me, and for me, I'm like, I know a lot of people would look at it and be like, "Oh God, now I'm jealous. I want to retire," and those people would retire. But for me, I don't want to, because number one, like, I want to keep going. Like, I don't want to just stop here and then level off, and then for the next 20 years have nothing fun to talk about. Like, I want to be in the mix of business. I think being in the mix of business is fun. Is it stressful? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. Is it extremely difficult? Yes. Is it like does it feel like you're, in the lion's den every single day, just about? Yes, it does. But here's the thing: when you achieve something at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of the quarter, if you achieve something you want to achieve, there's a feeling of that you can't even describe, that you can't buy, that you can't read out of a book. That feeling of pride, that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of confidence. I tell my kids all the time, the only way, and we'll wrap it up at this, the only way to get real confidence, because you can't get confidence, you can get temporary confidence by affirmations, and the affirmations, to me, they're important, and they have their place, and you can be confident, because sometimes you need them. Sometimes the world's falling apart, and you might have been there. I've been there before. The world's falling apart, the walls are caving in, ceiling's falling down, the floor feels like it's falling out from under you, and sometimes you got to just say, all right, I'm gonna get through this. 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 But the way you get real confidence is by figuring out a goal you have, whatever that goal is, and then working like fucking hell to accomplish it. That's where you get real confidence from. There's no other way to get it. That's where you get real confidence from. And then once you have it, and then you figure out, and if you've never accomplished anything before, do it small. Do it. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, it could be something small. If you're working a sales job, it might be to, make a sale, right? Then it might be to, let's say there's 20 salespeople in the job you're in. It might be to be in the top, 1 month to be in the top 10. Then another time to be in the top 5. And then maybe it's 1 month to be the number 1 salesperson. And it might be to lift a certain amount of weight if you're working out, or to get a certain belt rank if you're in martial arts, if you're in karate or jiu-jitsu or judo or taekwondo, or um, if you're in any of those any of the martial arts. Might be to get a belt. It might be to lose a certain amount of weight, to get to a certain weight, to lose a certain amount of pounds, or to get to a certain weight. Whatever it is, and start. My thought is always start small. Like start something that feels like you can do it, and then go a little bit lower that and do it. And you go, okay, this stuff does work. Also, then you're like, then your mind goes, okay, this works. Okay, then you set a little bit bigger goal and bigger goal and bigger goal, and before you know it, it's like you're accomplishing big things. And that's where it all starts. And then all of a sudden, then you start developing this confidence, this knowing that, you know what, I can do this. And then when you have these setbacks, which you absolutely will, whether it's in business, in school, in life, in relationships, you'll have the setbacks. Everyone does. I could talk for 3 hours of my setbacks and when the world's falling in, and some recent and some through the last 30 years. I can tell you many stories like that. And but when you develop that confidence, you when you face those uncertainties, then you have the confidence that you're like, okay, well, I will get through this. And then, on the flip side, when when things are rolling along, and you say, okay, well, I want to accomplish this goal, then you can accomplish that because you've accomplished things before. So it's nothing new. Maybe this goal's new, maybe it's bigger than it was before, but you can accomplish that. So we'll wrap it at there.